fact, Russ Jr. pointed something out to me yesterday and has me bring something along. On May 4th, 1982, Lester Buchart presented this to Russell. It was on Russell's 70th birthday, and he wrote on it, "Spur on for 100. Little did he know. We have a lot of people going to make a lot of presentations, and rather than cover Mr. Horn up with a bunch of stuff, we're going to put them all on the table. We won't actually hand them to him. You can acknowledge that they'll be on the table and display in the back. And I have some dignitaries, some elected officials I'd like to introduce. Dauphin County Commissioner Mike Prees is here. If you just raise your hand and acknowledge where you are, we'll hold our applause to the end. And York County Commissioner Chris Riley's here. Saw Chris. He's going to hang around as long as he could. And Commissioner Doug Hoke is here. Doug. And the Mayor of the City of York, Kim Bracey, is here. We're going to hear from her. And State Representative Glenn Grell is here. We'll hear from him as well. And from Penn State, Dr. Mukund Kulkarni, who is the Chancellor of the Capitol Campus. Yes, sir. And Dr. Lisa Ann Plowfield, Chancellor of the York Campus. She's in the back there. And Dr. Madeline Haynes, who is the Vice President of the Commonwealth Campuses. A very familiar face around here. Dr. Haynes, good to see you. And from the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission, Roger Nutt, who is the Chief Executive Officer. We're glad to have all these people here. We're going to round of applause. Russell, only God could give us somebody like you, and only God could write a story like yours. And when we started this program, we wanted to bring the news media here, and I'll point out that only one media outlet came, and that is WHP Television. And I give them credit for being here. And that's Channel 21 to CBS in Harrisburg, and you'll be able to see the pictures they took tonight. And Jesse Knudsen is their reporter, and Jesse's an interesting case. He graduated from college last year and has a job, and as you know, there are a lot of college graduates this year who don't have a job and won't have a job, and they're pretty much worried. I mean, the question is out there, you know, are we going to have a job? Am I going to have a job? Am I going to ever own a house? Am I going to ever start a family? It's a tough question, and so some of them have given up hope. Not Russell. He graduated in 1933, worst year in the Depression. Employment was 4 times worse than now. You see how he wound up. It hurt him. And then when World War II came along, another challenge, he wound up serving in North Africa and in Italy, and served under General Patton. But we're not surprised by his service. He's always served his country, his state, his county, his city, the township, or some organization. And over at PACE, we were asked to put together a biography of Russell sometime back, and they said keep it under 4 pages. And all we did was list a simple 1-page list, bullet point list of all the organizations he held leadership positions in, and all the awards he got. It was 4.5 pages long. It's just incredible. And as an engineer, of course, he had to be a professional engineer, PE, and most of the engineers around here, some of them who are PEs, get registered in 2 or 3, maybe 4 states. The frame certificates on the wall over at PACE show he's registered in 26 states. What a guy. And successful people always want other people to succeed, so they mentor and they encourage and they support. And as you all know, Russell's presented tens of thousands of dollars worth of scholarship money to young people so they could go to college, and his support for Penn State is unwavering. The pictures over here during the lunch, and by the way, I'd like to mention that the lunch was served by Calvary United Methodist Church, and let's have a round of applause. But if you saw the slide presentation earlier, it'll run again later, you'll see that Russell was always hobnobbing with big shots. There are pictures of him with presidents, and governors, and senators. There's also some pictures of him wearing a funny hat and a funny shirt at the crab feast. And all he wanted to do there was make the employees happy and make their wives laugh. And he's that kind of guy as well. He's a special guy. And when, at Pace Resources, when he was well into his 90s, he'd come around every morning. And he'd go from office to office, a little chit-chat with everybody, but it was always positive chit-chat. And a man in his 90s has some aches and pains and some concerns, but Russell was always positive. You'd walk up to him and you'd say, "Russell, how you doing?" And he'd say, "Day by day, better and better." Everybody in Pace will remember he said that. "You're 100 years old now, Russell. How you doing today?" He's doing better and better. Caught him by surprise. We have a number of people who are going to make presentations today. And what we're going to do, as we said, we're not going to pile them on top of Mr. Horn. We're going to put them on the table. But I'm going to ask Bob Riley from Congressman Platt's office to come here. Congressman Platt could not be here, but he brought a flag and a presentation, and Bob Riley will make it.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the invitation. Todd is sorry that he can't be here today. He is out of state, but it is a great honor to be here today to celebrate not only and congratulate Mr. Horn on his 100th birthday, but equally important to thank him for his service not only to our community, but to our nation. As has been mentioned before, he served with great honor and great distinction as a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army in World War II. And then he came back and he helped build America. When you look at this fantastic building here and you think about all the decades of service that he's given, thousands upon thousands of citizens and families have benefited from his hard work and his hands. And even more than that, equally countless number of citizens benefited from his charitable work and from the goodness of his heart. So America is the greatest nation on the face of the earth. And York County is a great place to live and work because of men like Russell Horn and the compassion that they showed, the honor and the hard work that they've shown. And it's just a great honor to be here to thank you very much, sir, for your service to our community, for your service to our country. I have a letter here from Congressman Platts in the United States House of Representatives. And as mentioned, we do have an American flag that we're going to present here to Mr. Horn for his service to our country and community. Thank you very much, sir. It's a great honor to be here, and best wishes.
One of the things Russell always wanted was for his engineers to go out and become active in the community, join organizations, go to meetings, get involved in local government. Every now and then, somebody would take that a little too far. And we have an engineer, Greg Most, who worked here for 25 years, 28 years. And for almost 10 years now, he's been the township manager in Spring Garden Township. And as you might expect, Mr. Horn has a connection to Spring Garden Township. Greg?
Certainly, Mr. Horn, today's a special day for you, but it's a special day for me as well. If I could go back in time, for me it was September 1970. I had just graduated from Penn State. I had an engineering degree, and I was eager to go to work. I wasn't married at the time. Deb, who has been my wife for almost 42 years now, was still at the York Hospital School of Nursing. But we had planned to get married in December of 1970. So it was important to me to really set the bar high with getting my first paycheck. And I thought, with this engineering degree, you know, I got to really reach for the sky here. And I tell my family what my starting salary was, and it's amazed how they look at me. But I started that position at $8,000 a year. That's about $4 an hour, and it probably cost me more than that to come across town with fuel today. But as Gene said, for 28 years, this was my home. I had left for a short period of time. I came back, and it was coincidental. We were working with Spring Garden Township. They were a client. I was in charge of that client. One thing led to another, and while my career took a different twist, it wasn't real dramatic because I simply came on the other side of the table. I continued to work in local government. I work with many consultants. I still see many of the old family from Buchard Horn. But there's a period in this 28 years where I do remember a couple things. You told me about the days when you knew my grandfather, who was a veterinarian in York County. Also served on the Red Line School District, and you did projects with him back many years ago. It's almost 10 years ago now that I left the organization. I left here and I thought, how tough can it be being a municipal manager? 6.9 square miles, 12,000 people. There's not enough time today to tell all the stories, so I'll tell them to you separately at another time. But coming over here, I did get a reality that I'm still working for you. You see, people call me and sometimes I don't have maybe the answer they want to hear. So quite often they'll say, who's your boss? Professionally, I say, well, which one? I have 12,000 of them. It just so happens that 5 are elected officials. You are a resident of Spring Garden Township, so in a different way, I still am working for you. You told me one time when I took this role that you had served on the Board of Commissioners for Spring Garden Township, and I did a lot of research. It took me for quite a while to come up with what I'm giving you today, but you were correct. Specifically, in April 9th, 1952, the Justice of the Peace, I.C. Corman, administered your oath of office for you to serve the remaining term of Alfred Dunlap, and you served as commissioner for our 4th Ward for 2 years. You were assigned to work with the Department of Public Safety. You also served on the Police Civil Service Commission. Your last meeting was December 9th, 1953, and at that time, you had presented George Noonan as commissioner-elect for the 4th Ward. Certainly, George Noonan's name speaks for itself in the York community. What I did through this research is I came up with something I think that you will like. Mounted on the presentation, going back to 1952, I found the original resolution where you took the oath of office. Fortunately, I had 2 originals. You're getting one of them. It spells out the official action of the board. It's signed by the president of the board at that time, but it's an official document that goes back to April 1952. Along with that, I have a message from our Board of Commissioners. It's a proclamation recognizing the 100th birthday of Russell E. Horn Sr. Whereas Mr. Russell E. Horn Sr. was born in 1912 in Yoe, Pennsylvania, and is celebrating his 100th birthday this year. Whereas Mr. Horn is a co-founder of Buchard Horn, Inc. in 1945 with corporate headquarters in York, Pennsylvania, and under his leadership has developed an international organization with professional and support staff providing consulting, architectural, and engineering services to private and municipal clients. And whereas Mr. Horn is a 62-year resident of Spring Garden Township, and whereas Mr. Horn has provided dedicated service to the Spring Garden Township as an appointed commissioner, serving as the board's representative for the township's 4th Ward from April 9th, 1952 to December 9th, 1953. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Spring Garden Township Board of Commissioners hereby extends congratulations and best wishes in recognition of Mr. Horn's special 100th birthday, presented this 4th day of May 2012, and it's signed by our President Commissioner John Fulmer Jr., Vice President Matthew R. Short, who quite incidentally is the Commissioner for the 4th Ward, Commissioner Thomas Warman, Commissioner Richard Geyer, Commissioner Cara Beth Sortman, and I've signed as Township Manager because I don't want you to forget me. Happy birthday, Mr. Horn.
We've mentioned Mr. Horn's service in World War II under General Patton. I'm sure he'll get mentioned again. With us today is Lieutenant Colonel Dan Daly from the Pennsylvania Reserve Officers Association. And Colonel Daly, I'd like you to come up if you would, please.
Although I may not know Colonel Horn as well as many of you here do, I am absolutely humbled to be in his presence and humbled to receive the invitation to participate in this birthday celebration today. I couldn't imagine everything that Colonel Horn went through during his early years after he was commissioned in 1933. Oh, by the way, as soon as he was commissioned in 1933, Colonel Horn joined the Reserve Officers Association and has been a lifelong member ever since. That's almost 80 years worth of membership in one organization. That's absolutely incredible to me. It's absolutely incredible. I wish I could do more for you, but as a lowly state president down here, sir, the best I could do for right now, we are going to try to get you in our national magazine. We were a very active organization in 1933, as we are now, supporting our Reserve and National Guard service members all across the nation and the world. It's my absolute honor to present this certificate from the Department of Pennsylvania, the Reserve Officers Association, Department of Pennsylvania Certificate of Appreciation, presented to Colonel Russell E. Horn this 4th day of May 2012 for dedicated and outstanding military and civilian service to his country, his state, and his community. Sir, happy birthday.
Pace Resources was formed to consolidate some of the business functions of the subsidiary companies. Pace receives direction from a board of directors. One of the outside directors is State Representative Glenn Grell, who represents the 87th District of Pennsylvania in the state legislature, serving his 4th term there. Glenn?
Thank you, Gene, and thank you for everybody for being here. I am just so honored and humbled to have this brief opportunity to join in this celebration and show my respect for Mr. Horn. And respect is the key. Now, I've only known him for a small fraction of his 100 years, maybe 10 or 12% of that, but in that short period of time, I have come to respect this man greatly for all the reasons you have heard and all the reasons you will hear. I'm, in addition to being a member of the board, an independent director, as a member of the House of Representatives, I'm here to bring some official greetings and happy birthday wishes as well. My colleague, Representative Eugene D. Pasquale, beat me to the punch and sponsored a citation from the House of Representatives congratulating you on your 100th birthday, and that's presented back on the table. But I went one step beyond, and I got a citation from the Governor of the Commonwealth to present to you today. And actually, Stan Saylor and I went together to get the citation for you. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I did want to read just a small piece of it. And I'm honored to have been chosen to present it to you here today. The Governor writes, "It's with great pleasure and pride that I join with your family and friends in honoring your long and prosperous life as you celebrate your 100th birthday. Having achieved 10 decades of life and service, you deserve to be recognized and applauded for the innumerable contributions you have made to your family and your community. It is my hope that you will look upon your life with fulfillment and pride, knowing that you have made a lasting, positive impact on the people around you. As Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I offer my warmest personal regards and extend best wishes for the happiest of celebrations." And in presenting this, I just think about all the hundreds, if not thousands or more, of individuals and families whose lives you have touched, whether offering employment to a member of that family, whether offering professional development and professional careers to so many people, being responsible for the completion of so many great public projects in this region. You have a legacy that spreads very far and wide and deep, and for that you should be very proud, and it's my real honor to be here to join in this celebration and offer my personal best happy birthday wishes to you, and congratulations, and wish for many more. Thank you, sir.
Brookhart Horn's operations in the South are important to the company. And the man who led those operations for many years, George Barnes, is with us today. George was also president of our company at the turn of this century. George? Come on.
Thank you, Gene. It's great to be back. Thank you all for inviting me. And to the representatives here, distinguished guests, and certainly to our centenarian, Russell E. Horn Sr. You know, everyone's called him Colonel. Back when I was involved, we had several names for Russell Horn. But the Colonel seemed to stick. And I still call him that today, although I have called him Russ many times as well. And I think we know each other as Russ and George. We exchange letters and notes and Christmas cards. And you know, back when I was serving, working with Russ, we exchanged words. Now we exchange cards, but he still has the last word. Back in Memphis, Mid-South Division, several years ago, Russ and Mrs. Horn would come and visit and spend some time in Memphis and the south part of Tennessee. And he got to know some of the governors there, you remember? Spent some time with some of them and got to know others in the area, and also the Peabody Ducks. And he would come, and Mrs. Horn would stay at the Peabody Hotel in downtown Memphis. And he always seemed to enjoy Tennessee, especially Jack Daniel whiskey. But from the time that I remember, and what Russell instilled in us, and it's still in my memory, and I say this to all the Pace Resource people, and I'm happy to be back with you all, he told about, and we still have it, I believe, the 5 P's of professional service. The 5 P's of professional service. He meant that, and he still subscribes to it, and I believe the Pace Corporation does also. Well, there's one P that's not in there, and I'd like to add that Russell told me almost from the day I started, it's been 45 years ago that we've known each other, 45 years now. He said, profit is not a 4-letter word. And I remember that, and I still remember that, because that's one of the reasons we're in business, is for profit. And Russell was very concerned and very definite about that. I mentioned Tennessee, and I mentioned Memphis, and I mentioned the governors. This letter I have comes from the Secretary of State of the state of Tennessee, a friend of mine, and I would say I am looking to him to be a future governor of the state of Tennessee. His name is Trey Hargett, and he is Secretary of State. He's written this letter, and I'll share it with you, Russell. Happy 100th birthday. Please accept my congratulations on reaching this milestone. I know this is a time of great joy for you, your family, and your friends. Your name is one associated with hard work and commitment. From the time of your honorary military service for our great country to the projects Buchard Horn Pace Resources has completed with excellence for your customers, your legacy spans far and wide. Though your roots are in Pennsylvania, we know you have contributed greatly to the progress of our state. And we thank you for the economic impact your company's presence continues to have throughout West Tennessee and beyond. I pray that you have a blessed birthday, and I commend you for your years of dedicated service to our country, your community, and the great state of Tennessee. Signed sincerely, Trey Hargett, Secretary of State. Well, I would vouchsafe to you, Russ, a very strong and healthy and happy 100th birthday as a centenarian. And I leave you with this, which you always close, as I remember, our meetings and the Pace Resource Board meetings with this quotation from the Bible. And it is, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
You do. It is, unless the Lord build the house, those who build it build in vain. Russ, God bless.
Mr. Horn's support for Pennsylvania State University is unwavering. got a lot of Penn State grads around here, I'm sure, a few anyway. And someone who can give testimony to that is the former chancellor of the Harrisburg campus and now vice president of Commonwealth campuses is Dr. Madeline Hayes. Dr. Hayes, look.
Ooh, look at all these people. I had my back to you. This is wonderful. So, it is also an honor for me to be here to celebrate this incredible occasion. Mr. Russell E. Horn, AKA Russell. Is that okay? Okay. I am honored to be here to participate in your 100th birthday celebration. In fact, it was right here, I was right here with many of you who are sitting here today 10 years ago for his 90th birthday. And at that time, I promised that I would be right back here to celebrate your 100th. And you made that promise to me. So here we are. And indeed, we made it. Russell, I would not have missed this for the world. A promise, especially among friends, is a promise. You are a treasured friend, a distinguished and accomplished individual, a public servant, a world citizen, one who exemplifies the values, the vision, and good work of a life, an extraordinary life that is being well spent, devoted to improving the well-being of others and the well-being of the broader community. You know, Russell is a champion of education. He speaks passionately about the value, the importance of education, especially higher education. He has told me over the years, many times, that education is a great equalizer and an even greater enabler. No matter what your background, education levels the playing field, it opens doors and presents opportunities. It is a credential of distinction that has been earned with good hard work, good intellect, and it is a privilege. And with that, Russell always reminds us, comes responsibility. Russell speaks of the satisfaction, the very personal satisfaction that is derived from helping others along. And that is exactly what Russell has and continues to do. His generosity has to date assisted in providing scholarships to over 145 students. His generosity has provided laboratory equipment and made it possible for many students to travel and study internationally. And Russell always says that would give them a global perspective and appreciation of other cultures and business practices. Well, engineering, of course, is his passion, but you should know that Russell's good work has also contributed to athletics and medicine, and his student beneficiaries study in fields including engineering, literature, education, and business. Russell is a true Renaissance man. I have selected a couple of paragraphs from the countless letters that students send to him to thank him for their scholarship assistance. I read them all. They are each heartfelt. A couple of phrases, a couple of paragraphs. One student writes, I hope I will be able to serve in a position of giving back to my community with my degree in engineering. I believe that helping to change this world for future generations to come should be society's outlying focus. Thanks to you, Mr. Horn, that focus is closer than expected. Another student writes, completing a degree in English and art history has been my lifelong dream. The events of life overtook me in my youth, and soon I was a wife and a mother. Now, as a single mother re-entering the workforce, resources remain scant, so I must work full-time and attend class part-time. With your help, Mr. Horn, my lifelong dream is within reach. Well, Russell is a Penn State alumnus, as you've heard, from the class of 1933, and I'd like to think that in some small way, the years spent at Penn State helped shape the wonderful, talented man we celebrate today. So just imagine Penn State in the early 1930s. Well, we did a little research, after all, we're researchers, and found Russell's Penn State 1933 yearbook. And Russell, you have witnessed some of the major milestones at Penn State that we enjoy today. Examples: Old Main was rebuilt while you were still a student on its current site. The Nittany Lion Inn opened. Athletics were established. All of this while you were a student. And by the way, you attended Penn State College. It was not yet a university. The Alumni Association boasted at that time 13,000 members. Well, today we boast just a little bit more than that, just over 500,000. The Dream of Engineering, your chosen field, in a letter to the Dean of Engineering, which is Russell's chosen field, wrote a letter to his students in that yearbook, encouraging studies to extend not only to engineering, but to English, literature, history, psychology, economics, and mathematics. And the quote is this: to furnish a foundation for a balanced personality, character, and a willingness to take responsibility. And Russell, you have far exceeded these expectations. The university has recognized you as an Alumni Fellow, which is the highest award bestowed to a graduate by the Alumni Association, and as an outstanding engineering alumnus by the College of Engineering. The university has also welcomed Mr. Horn into the Mount Nittany Society in recognition of his significant contributions. We also found your student yearbook photograph from 1933. Hear me out. I saw this. Oh my, oh my. He was a rock star. The Brad Pitt, all right, I should say Gary Cooper, Clark Gable of the class of 33. And I'm honest, I'm sure that the young women students were smitten with you. And to be perfectly honest, had I been a student at that time, I would have been the president of your fan club. I have his picture, we have framed it, and I can't wait to show it to you. Well, you give of yourself. You give your treasure, your time, and share your extraordinary talent and wisdom to inspire and encourage others and to mentor those entering the profession. How very, very gracious. You know, it's said that true leadership is a belief. It's a condition of the heart. And Russell, you have a generous heart, and you have stolen mine. It gives me great personal pride to call Russell Horn my dear friend. So I thank you on behalf of the university, and I wish you a happy, happy birthday. And I have several gifts, but we will display them on the table. One is from a proclamation from the Alumni Association. One is the 1933 rock star photograph taken for the yearbook. And another is a collage of photographs. Mr. Horn loves photographs, so do I, taken from many of the events you attended over the years at Penn State. Happy, happy, happy birthday.
It's no accident that this building is located in the city of York. The company wanted to locate in York where they could reuse abandoned property, improve the city, and support the city with the firm's presence. And over the years, we've been loyal to that, and I know that Brookhart Horn is important to the city of York. With us today, my great honor to introduce her honor, Kim Bracy, the mayor of the city of York.
Good afternoon, everyone. You all know how we do in York. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Mr. Horn's birthday. Come on now. I am honored that you have chosen to stay in the city of York, as former mayors have been as well, too. The economic impact that you make is tremendous, and we appreciate the firm being here. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, and have special birthday wishes for you as well, Mr. Horn. On his 100th birthday celebration, May 4th, 2012, blessed are those who take birthdays in stride, who can smile when the big day is here. Blessed are those who can look back with pride on another enjoyable year. Blessed are those who have stayed young at heart, who will always seem right in their prime. Blessed are those who have mastered the art of living one day at a time. Blessed are those who could never be said to have bowed to today's tears and sorrow. Blessed are those who keep looking ahead to a brighter and better tomorrow. Blessed are those who have learned how to see all the beauty of sharing and giving. Blessed are those who discovered the key to life that is really worth living. Congratulations on the celebration of your 100th birthday. May you be blessed with happiness and special memories on your special day. Given under my hand and sealed, the city of York, this 4th day of May, the year of our Lord 2012. C. Kim Bracey.
Thank you.
That wasn't your usual proclamation. That was really nicely done. As we mentioned earlier, one of the things that Russell did was encourage people to get involved in community activities and to support people serving in government positions and for organizations. And he always set a good example for other people to follow. But one of the people who told me that he followed that example is the local community leader, Bonnie Grimes, who was appointed to the AAA Board of Directors by Mr. Horth, and asked if he could come and say a few words. Bonnie, if you'd come up.
I'm honored by being here to see all of you, to come to see this gentleman, and everyone on you. I want you to know that. I'll always remember that 1976, he was president of the AAA, and he asked me to join. He wanted me to join. And so I've been on the board for 28 years and been secretary for 14 years. And we have been friends before that, though. But he's a good man. He's a good man because if God so loved the world, why can't we love each other? Because once we find love, we automatically find God because God is it. And that's what he found, love. I know he loves everyone. So I would like to if I can help somebody, my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I travel on, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can guide somebody when they're going wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. No, 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 my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I travel along, then my living shall not be in vain. if I can be the good man that Russell is, if I can bring back beauty to a world abroad, if I can spread God's message as the master taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. No, 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 my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I travel along, then my living shall not be in vain. Thank you.
Brian Funkhauser and Russell Horn have a great deal in common. They are both engineering graduates of the Pennsylvania State University. They both have had the honor to lead this company. And they are both really big Nittany Lion fans. Brian Funkhauser, President and CEO of Puchart Horn, Pasco City.
Thank you, Gene. Happy birthday, Russell, from all the employees of Puchart Horn, and good afternoon to all of our friends that have joined us here today for this celebration. As Madeline said, just 5 years ago, we dedicated this building in honor of Russell, the Russell E. Horn building. And it's noteworthy that this building is the only thing amongst us that is older than Russell. 1908, this building was constructed. It's the only thing that should be. You know, celebrating a 100th birthday is a milestone that most do not get to enjoy. During my 32 years at Puchart Horn, I've had the opportunity to learn more about the individual that graduated from Penn State during the Great Depression, served his country admirably during World War II, raised a family with his wife, Eleanor, joined up with his childhood friend, Claire Buchart, to create a top 300 architectural and engineering firm, become one of the great philanthropists in the community, and provide the opportunity for countless number of employees and their families to sustain a living. I speak for all of BH when I say we are all proud to have had the opportunity to either know Russell, work with him, work for him, and have him as a friend. I wanted to take a moment just to reflect back on what things were like 100 years ago. I mean, it's hard to fathom, what things were like back in 1912. First off, gas was around 10 cents a gallon. The Dow was at 87. The average income was $1,000. U.S. population was 95 million. Federal spending was at $690 million. New homes cost $2,750. We added New Mexico and Arizona as states. William Taft was president, and Woodrow Wilson was elected president. And obviously, we all know that the Titanic sank. Some of the inventions that Russell had the opportunity to witness over the past 100 years. And I look back at some of these inventions now when I was going through the list, and they seem so simple. For example, in 1912, the Oreo cookie was born, and Lifesaver candy. The traffic light. 1919, the pop-up toaster. 1921, the garage door. Closely followed in 1926 by the garage door opener. the cotton swab. 1929, the television. 1938, Teflon, nylon, fiberglass, and sunglasses. 1941, penicillin. 1948, cable TV and the credit card. And in 1954, the first McDonald's franchise. In 1958, jet airliners. In 1964, the 8-track. 1971, the microchip and microprocessor. 73, the mobile phone. I thought this was interesting. 74, the Heimlich maneuver. In 81, the space shuttle. In 88, the Doppler radar. And today we got, in 2006, the shingles vaccine, and now doing blogging. I'm sure, do you know what blogging is? I mean, it's hard to imagine back in Russell's early years, no cell towers, no jets, airplanes flying overhead, having to go through a switchboard to make a phone call. I guess looking back, how neat is it to be able to witness those days and everything of the present? I mean, what an opportunity. Some of the major historical events that took place, obviously World War I and World War II, the attack on Pearl Harbor, the stock crash and the Great Depression, the Holocaust, the atomic bomb, the Cold War, JFK assassination, man on the moon, falling of the Berlin Wall, and 9/11. So a lot of things taking place and that's just to touch a few over the past 100 years. So enough for reflecting. For all of us that have known Russell, we know that he has never really retired. Even though he says he's out of the business. I hear that all the time when I meet him for either lunch or dinner. But I'm not really in the business, but always giving suggestions. Outside of his family, Buchard Horn and the other paste companies he formed was and is his life. He works at home every day. Louise can contest to that. Through going through his business mail, writing notes, sending suggestions on what we can do to improve. I think I just got a note today in the mail from him. Well, the big question is, how do you get to be 100? And you'll have to ask him that directly. But I will tell you that up until he was in his mid-70s, he ran several miles a day. And I know he tells me the stories of where he lives, it's a pretty hilly area, and he'd run up to the Country Club of York. So it's quite a trot from his home up there. And just up to a few years ago, he walked every day, almost 5 miles every day. I know he drinks occasionally. We heard George say about the bourbon. I didn't know too much about the bourbon. I see more wine and beer these days. And I don't believe he ever smoked.
No, never.
So I never smoked, and I'm certain he never had any other bad habits.
No,
But in fact, Russell will be the first to tell you that God blessed him with a long life. I'm very fortunate for that. Russell's memory is incredible. Again, he'll tell you that, his short-term memory is going a little bit, but, I'm nearly half his age, and I have problems with my short-term memory. I recall on our trips up to Penn State, which I've had the privilege to do several times with Russell, to go up to see Penn State games, and as soon as we get in the car, Russell's telling stories. And it's always been interesting to hear those stories about our business, about his time in World War II, about Penn State. And one of the times driving up through the Narrows, and I'm sure it wasn't the same tree or anything, but he said, here's where I ran my Model A into a tree headed to Penn State. And that was why he was going to school there, but I think maybe that trip happened following his graduation even from Penn State. because he had a girlfriend up there in Illinois who was working at Penn State. Obviously, eventually persuaded Eleanor to marry him, and together they had 4 children, 3 boys and a girl, and today he has 16 grandchildren and 32 great-grandchildren. And at least as of this morning, I don't think there's been any additions of any great-grandchildren or anything added to that. It has been a privilege to have the opportunity to spend a short time of Russell's 100 years with him and have him as a mentor and a friend. To close on a quote from Abraham Lincoln, quote, "And in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years." You have lived well, and may you continue to do so. Happy birthday, Russell. I guess we got a little ceremony we got to do here. Forgot about that. The obvious. We got to sing happy birthday to you. Thank you. Once we get the 100 candles lit.
I'm not very hungry. Part of our wellness program here at Football Horn, we have a Weight Watchers program. So we'll be cutting up the cake a little later.
So if we can start with happy birthday, maybe Mr. Grimes will lead us in happy. He has a harmonica.
Also, do you want to say anything?
You want to say you're mic'd up? You want to say a few words? You can stay sitting there. Should have known he wouldn't stay sitting.
Well, I never was a speaker, so I should probably sit down right now. But I want to tell you, this is very difficult for me because I've seen people that I haven't seen for a long time, and to imagine them coming from Virginia south of there, and people who worked for us many years ago, it flabbergasted me. I guess that's a good word, I'm not sure. But I thank each of you for coming, because I think we had a good time together. Sometimes it wasn't so good. And there have been times that it was pretty bad, but I think we can smile with us on that. My time with Penn State, I'm a Penn State man. I think it's wonderful. The first job I had was a foreman for Penn State, and we planted roses from York to Wrightsville. That was one of my jobs, the first job I had, in fact. And those roses are all dead, and here I'm still alive. but Penn State has been good to me. There's no question about it. But you know, I was graduated in the Depression, similar to the one we're going through in the past. And jobs were hard to get. So when I went back to Penn State for the graduation, we had normally had about a week between the end of our services and the graduation. And when I went back, I was the only man in our engineering class, that's civil engineering only, that had a job. I've been very fortunate. I've been blessed, and I can't explain why I've been blessed, but I have been blessed not only by long years, but many people as they get older lose their mental capacity. I probably lost some, I'm not sure, but I try to think and believe that I haven't lost too much. And so what's going to happen between now and the end, I don't know. But in any event, some of them said today that I'll work on the next 100, and I said, well, that's a good idea, but I don't think I'll make it. It's a pleasure to be able to say in the presence of these Penn State people that I am a good Penn State man. When I went to college, my grades were not very, they were medium, but I never grew up to this. But I was able to make a living and on the results of my graduation. In fact, and I say God bless these Penn State people, I tell you. I have nothing else to say, so sit down.